Welcome to Real Estate After Dark. I'm your host, Larry Casselberry, and to my left, and you're
King.
right, we got June King. What's up?
Hey.
How you doing? I liking the
Great.
bead situation over there.
I know. You know, I always like to accessorize.
You hooking them up. Mother of pearl. Man, I appreciate you guys joining us today, the Real Estate After Dark podcast. And man, what is this? Episode 6?
6?
We got 6. Okay,
Wow.
you got 6 of them down. I'm liking the way this is going.
I know. I know. I've been getting a lot of good feedback.
Lot of good feedback.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, when's the next episode coming out? Wait, I need to go to your home buyer seminar. I was like, it's coming.
It's coming.
You know, it's exciting.
What day?
Yeah.
May 17th?
May 17th.
Yes.
May 17th.
Yes.
So look us to on our podcast, Real Estate After Dark podcast on Facebook and Real Estate After Dark on Instagram. We're going to just really start heavily promoting that.
Yes.
And start getting some reservations for that going, because I think it's going to be a great event. We're looking at some spots, and right now we're looking at Grand Prairie, right?
Yes.
So we're definitely looking on locking in something. So stay tuned, and we can, start to
this week.
Yeah.
So this week. So no later than Tuesday.
Gotcha.
You guys going to have the location, the time,
who's showing up, what
right.
to wear.
Right. Well, they can wear
They can wear whatever they want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We don't go too crazy.
I guess we'll try to be professional.
Definitely. So
Try.
So how things been with work? Been pretty busy end of the month.
Summer.
Yeah.
Summer is coming, so it's kind of busy and the market's kind of hot, and so
I know
everyone likes to move in the summer. So why
Right.
do you think people like to move in the summer?
I don't know. It's too, people want to change school districts. Maybe
Mhm.
it's jobs. Maybe it's like newer communities that their friends been telling them about. I mean, there's a whole lot of different,
Reason.
ideas. I mean, a lot of people are downsizing that I see
Right.
in this market. There's a big boom now. I guess it usually started about in March, and it goes all the way through like the beginning of June. Right before school's out, I always see a big spike in listings and buyers, usually coming out of town trying to lock in a school district before summer's over.
Right. So when do you think it ends? Like the spike?
Well, I think Dallas Fort Worth wise, I think it kind of ends like right before school starts back.
Okay.
So like middle of August, you'll kind of get a cutoff there, because the people that want to move school districts or coming out of town are like, we need to get a house, we need to get a spot. So I know at the end of July, it's like super backed up with people like trying to make some decisions on houses. Yeah. So a lot of times if you see a lot of competition, a lot of houses on the market,
Mhm.
and you're trying to get in a certain area, you'll see a lot of those start to go pending and start getting contracts on really fast, because people now they're in this bubble
Mhm.
and they have to make a really, really quick decision.
It's hard too,
Yeah.
I listed my house last year,
Right.
and I was like, oh my goodness. And so it just comes up to you very quickly.
Right.
And so would you say like this is the best time to put your house on the market?
Oh, it is the best time right now, because you definitely want to get in the fold, in the summer fold, because there's definitely a lot of buyers right now, especially if you're in really great school districts, like, Flower Mound, Argyle, Louisville, South Lake, Colleyville. I mean, you just Frisco,
Okay.
Plano ISD, West Side. It depends on where you are. I know we're mostly up north, and even in the southern sector.
I'm south.
Yeah, even in the southern sector, DeSoto, Lancaster, Duncanville. I mean, people, Cedar Hill. I
Mhm.
mean, just people are definitely trying to get in before school starts back. So it starts now.
Right.
You have to have 2 or 3 months of a lens to start looking to get your family settled before then. So summertime is very, very big for families. It's very big for people that are relocating.
Everything.
Yeah, relocation is in the fold now. But
So I'm about to put you on the spot.
go ahead.
So, because I'm very transparent,
Yeah.
right? And kill me afterwards.
It's all right.
So, would you say it's more so of a buyer's or a seller's market in the summer?
It's kind of the same.
It's
I
kinda
don't know.
the same.
I feel like it's the same. I definitely think that there's a light bulb that goes off of like, okay, to sell my house is best in the summer. Of course it is, right?
Right.
But then again, there's the relocation aspect with Dallas Fort Worth. People want to come here.
People want to come here. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like, I think we accept that market,
Mm-hmm.
and I think at this point now, when you talk about the days on market in different sectors of Dallas Fort Worth,
Mm-hmm.
it's really depending on you know, the need and want.
Right.
You know, people want to be in great school districts. People want to be in great communities.
Right.
So now those days on market start to shrink.
Right.
You know,
yeah,
and they shrink really fast. But if you got a lot of inventory, that's when you're as a buyer, you need to be like, okay, this is good for me.
Right. Well, let's talk about inventory.
Okay, so inventory wise, like you could have, you know, for say you're in one neighborhood and there's like 15 homes available. Okay, that's a lot of inventory if I'm a buyer coming in. So now everybody has to compete. When it comes to the listings, you have to compete in pricing.
Okay.
You want to get your house sold, right?
Right.
You want to get the maximum potential of the house and what it's worth. But if your neighbor next door is 15, 20 grand lower than you, and you guys have about the same house,
then that part becomes more of a buyer aspect, buyer's market. Okay. So you consider, because you know that's your thing, right? So even I'm learning something because I just do the money part, right? Right. Which kind of is important to get the house, right?
Yeah, but you wanted to like definitely appraise for the value that it's worth.
Okay.
But if you have a lot of days on market, you have a lot of inventory, you know, you got to make some decisions as a seller. Are you going to sell your house based on kind of what the market is telling you?
Right. And then also too, do you feel, because I mean, until I was in the experience of selling my house, sellers, we get kind of emotional about our house, right?
It's an emotional, I mean, well, you know, I tell people they're selling their home. I'm like, well, it's no longer your house anymore.
I know.
You're still paying for it, don't get me wrong, but you're looking to start downsizing, getting stuff out of your house, like
or upgrading.
Already start packing. Yeah. Like get it out of the way. This is not, you put your house on the market, that means you want to give it to somebody.
I know. It's so, but I guess that's the reason why it's always great to have a great realtor.
Right.
It's just because we are emotional to our, I mean, because I know it's other people out there listening to me.
Right.
Like, yeah, I mean, your house is your house. I've seen sellers cry. I didn't cry. I wasn't that emotional, right? But it took a lot for me
from you.
And then when I got to the point, I'm like, okay, this is really not my house no more, because I was like all in the mix because I'm in the business too.
Yes.
So I was like really ridiculous. Okay. And then I had to remove myself because it really wasn't my house no more.
Right. Yeah. You know what? It is a very manageable moment. It can be manageable.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, you know, when I do sell people home, when I take a lot of their pictures that we sell the home and I do a scrapbook for them.
Oh, that's really nice.
You know, and I'm about to bring you guys an example of it, but it's really cool because when you sell your house is at like the best level you had it, like when you first got it.
Yes.
And so you took all the time to clean it and get all the furniture out, and you made it look nice.
Right.
And, I mean, it's so top notch. You're like, man, I got a really good house. I'm about to get rid of it.
You know what I mean? Right. It is the best. So yes.
A lot of people are pretty excited when I do those scrapbooks for them with all the pictures that we did to list a home, and it gives them another different way to appreciate their home.
Okay.
You know, when they move into their next home, because now it's time to create new memories. But what a better way to kind of capture the moment when your house looked
at its top notch. Yes, I know, because it's clean. I mean, it's not saying that I didn't clean every day,
right?
But,
of course.
But I mean, you know, when people showing it, you have to like, you know.
Yeah, you do. You start to pay attention to more of the detail. You know, touching up walls.
Yes.
You know, repairing some things in the house that need to be repaired.
Right.
And things of that nature. And so I think, you know, you got to have some type of a game plan. Even if you are a homeowner, everybody has game plans of things. I know me, every 6 months I get my carpet cleaned. You know, every 3 months I'm touch up painting the house.
You're just so things like that. It's just such a good homeowner.
Well, you have to get the fireplace clean.
I know. I wasn't that great.
They call it spring cleaning and winter cleaning for a reason, I think.
Yeah,
you know,
I did the carpet, but the paint, that wasn't my thing.
We got kids walking downstairs with their fingers.
Oh, yeah,
like they don't even care.
I forgot you got that faux pack over there.
They don't even care sometimes. Like, for real? Fingerprints over here?
I know,
like,
right?
Do you see this? You know, so I mean, there's a lot of things that you have to like take into account when you are a homeowner. And sometimes those things bite you in the butt when you're selling your house.
Yeah.
So you got to have a game plan for that. So crazy stuff. But I do want to get in kind of like the economy and kind of what the market is like.
Okay.
So I did write down a couple of things that I think that's going to make sense for our audience. But the first off with the economy, you know, the stocks are continuing to hit at record highs. I mean, if you guys following the stocks, I think it's just really crazy what's going on. And we definitely got strong corporate earnings. So that's really, really good for our economy.
Right.
And money moving to bonds back into stocks continue to pressure the rates as the rates get higher. I know they're at the lowest point. You know, we're pretty moderate in the rates. What are you kind of seeing right now with the rates? I mean, are you kind of glass half empty, glass half full, or are you loving where we are?
So okay, so where so they're not at the lowest that they've ever been, but they are at the lowest they've been in the last year. And even in December, the rates are really, really much higher, right?
Right.
And so,
but nobody expected it to kind of go back that way. I think we're all prepared for it to, quarter here, quarter there, eighth here. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I expected. But then I'm like, okay, what's really going on?
So now this is just my opinion. So I don't want you guys going out there talking about June said the rate is going to be here. Remember, it's my
we're gonna be real.
Yes, keep it real. Yes. All right. So the rate's been going up a little bit this week, right? Just a little bit, but they're really, really good. So remember, rates are based off of a variety of things, right? It depends on what type of product you go with. If you go with a conventional rate, and we'll get on another podcast talk about what conventional and FHA is, right?
We touched a little bit of it last week, but
yes. And so, and then FHA, right? And so, conventional is more strict when it comes to, we talked about it before with your credit and things like that.
Right.
FHA tend to have lower rates. But I think that, so a scenario, right? I'm going to give you a couple scenarios, right? I had a client and their credit was 622. Okay. And they were doing an FHA because that's the best product for them.
That's where they could go.
Yes, right. Yeah. They can go conventional. Yeah, they can
go conventional because they're over 620.
Right. But they, want to just put, to keep their money in their pocket.
Monetary wise, you have to kind of make a decision.
Correct. And so her rate on the FHA was around 4.875%. Okay. But she was getting some credits back to help with her closing costs. So, which is great. So she probably could have went maybe around 4.5.
Okay. And so with the credits.
Yeah. Well, so she got 4.875%, and I think she got like maybe $2,000 worth of credits. So that helped her with her closing costs.
Okay, so that the credits went to closing costs. It didn't go more towards the buy down.
No.
Okay.
No. So she went. So the rate started off at 4.5, and so she needed some help with some of her closing costs. So she took a 4.875%, and they gave her like $2,000 to help with the closing costs. And a lot of people do that.
You can do that. I mean, at least you got an opportunity to kind of see where the money could value what you need at the moment. So I like that.
So and then I had another buyer, and they were at 475,000, perfect credit, conventional. They're putting 20% down. On a conventional rate, the rate was 4.25%. Which is really, really good. Last week, it was around 3.875% for that buyer. So it went up a little bit. Yeah. And so it went up quite like 3 or 4 times last week.
So you saw 3.875?
Yes.
You saw a conventional 3.875. That's pretty good.
That's excellent.
That's pretty good. I think I went 3.5, but
don't be over here bragging, Larry. Look at Larry bragging, y'all. Yes.
But that was like 3 years ago.
Now, listen, don't be coming to me talking about what Larry said.
He got that 3.5. Is that a GPA? What is that? Okay. What is that? Is it EPA regulation on gas? What is that?
So wow. How long ago was that?
That was 3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago. It was great. 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember, because I've been in business for a while. So I never imagined rates to be at 3%, right? And I remember in 2007 when the market hit, the rates had went up to 7.25%, and people were complaining.
Right.
And I was like, "Listen, we're never." And they said, "Well, it should go now." And they was like, "It should be like 3 something." I said, "If it's 3 something, then we all need to leave America." And then I had to bite my words because
your words.
That's the reason why when I say these rates, it's just my opinion and what I think. I think the market is going to be stable. That's my opinion.
You think it's going to be stable? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we may hold you to. No, I ain't gonna hold you to it, but I think that's actually something to be excited about.
Yeah, that's now this is my opinion.
Well, in a sense, from a real estate standpoint, the market is stable now.
Right,
like it's starting to even out.
Right.
We've had record years of, the sales being higher and people and the sellers getting really good value for the house, and now the market is like, hey, let's kind of even things out a little bit. So I think when people are expecting their house to be $15,000, $20,000 over list and all that stuff, I think we're not seeing much of that.
You're not anymore?
We're starting to no, we're not. We're seeing more or less like what the value is.
Good.
You know, and there is certain situations, you know, I mean, you can go in the Flower Mound area and it could be people still fighting over houses.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't think we're seeing as many multiple offer situations like we used to.
Okay.
You know,
what do you think is a different price point? Because like I see like a 200,000 and under.
I mean, you're never gonna miss that market.
Okay,
I
right,
mean,
right.
I mean, under 300,000, you may be fighting.
Okay,
you know, depending on where you are. I mean, that's still the sweet spot, as you know. You know, a good 60% of the buyers are sitting underneath 300,000.
Right.
You know that, and that's kind of one of the things too. Is that if you are in, I know I had some stuff on. Especially, I had some stuff on like the luxury market, you know, percent. Okay. Like luxury homes appear to be in a bit of a slump.
Okay, so what's luxury? So what
luxury
do you consider?
Is considered most places consider luxury over 500,000.
Okay,
you know, and so if luxury's on a little bit of slumps, the sales of homes listed at 2 million and above fell 16%.
Wow,
that's crazy, right? In the first quarter, you know, as supply went up 14%.
Wow.
So there's a lot of people trying to get out of these houses.
To get to more like what do you think, like more than 300,000 and under?
Yeah, I mean, if you're downsizing, of course. I mean, I'm downsizing 2 million.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, your luxury, I mean, even 500,000 and up, you're starting to see a little bit of a, you know, a standstill there too.
Oh, really? And
yeah.
Last year, opposed to last year,
they were going fairly decent. But there was, I forget what month it was, but I remember, you know, talking to my mentor Daniel Hall, and he was like, man, these $500,000 a little, you know, we're kind of stalling on these. I guess it was probably like in September sometime. And the inventory just went skyrocketed in certain areas. It really did. I know in Argyle, you know, the inventory went almost to 5.4 to 6 months of inventory.
Wow.
So a bunch of it is a lot of the new home construction have caught up too. Some of the builders are just building. They're trying to get as many as they can on the ground.
Right.
The inventory.
The inventory is important. I mean, that's important, right?
Right.
So do you think in the whole DFW area, South and North, do you think our inventory is low, or do you consider it high? Because I know you put some statistics here.
I think with it is like I said, it's, you know, real estate is a local thing. For one thing, it's very, very local. So to get into more of those specifics is more or less like, what area are we considering? You know, for if I'm a prospective buyer.
Okay.
So someone may come to me and say, hey, Larry, what is the inventory like in Argyle? So I can pull up that information and I can show them how many homes are on the market versus how many have sold, and come up with an idea, you know, with some hard facts. It's like, man, Argyle's sitting at 6 months of inventory. As a buyer, if you want to get in this district, it's probably a good time for you.
Okay.
You know, you can come in and kind of, I wouldn't say name your price, but with your budget, you can probably get for what you're looking for.
Okay, great. And so,
you know what I mean?
And that's good, because I mean, of course, I don't work on this side, so like I'm asking some legitimate questions. I know you guys. So where's Argyle at?
Where's Argyle?
Where is that located? So in case
like
people
don't know,
it's
like northwest Fort Worth, next to Denton.
Okay,
like,
I know Denton.
10 minutes from Denton. You know what I mean?
Okay,
like,
right. Larry I was like, what city is that?
You make a left and you make a right, and it's next to Texas Motor Speedway.
Perfect,
you know what I mean?
Perfect.
We like landmarks. You know what I mean?
Right, me.
So you say it's next to the 7-Eleven on this corner. Which 7-Eleven? Which 7-Eleven?
Right,
you know?
right.
So yeah, I mean, it just, like I said, you know, when you're looking at, you know, the different type of areas that you want to get in, it's good to get with, you know, a real estate professional
like Larry,
who knows the area,
like Larry,
that can give you more fuel for kind of what you're looking for.
Correct.
You know, so, but if you want to go in an area where it's, you know, say you want to jump in Flower Mound, you want to say, hey, I need something 300,000 to 350 in Flower Mound, then the lens is like, hey, let's get ready for a battle.
Right.
You know, let's see what's on the market and let's come up with an aggressive game plan so we can actually win.
Okay.
You know, and that's all about just doing your homework, you know, finding comparables in the area, coming in with the right offer.
Right.
Where it's strong enough, because you may be going up against a couple of people.
Right.
You know, in a multiple offer situation.
And it's also important too to know your area, because I have lots of customers and they want their price point I'm not gonna say lots, okay? Because
right.
I want to get to lots, but right. But they, they're so comfortable. Maybe they live in an apartment in Plano, and they don't really understand the market in Plano, and they might have to come further south. So that's important. We need to talk about that one episode. When you start knowing the market,
when you do, there's very much value coming south. I mean, wow! If you want to get you a great house, you can go as far as south as like Waxahachie, Red Oak,
right?
A little bit further than, Cedar Hill. Start looking outside the lens, because when you do, the value starts to come back. The land is so much expensive as you get into interior Dallas.
Right. And it's okay.
It's okay where you want to be. But if you start getting on the outside, and that's kind of how I found Argyle, because it was on the outside.
I was like, Argyle.
It was on the outside. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I was like, man, I like Flower Mound, but I can't afford Flower Mound.
Okay.
So that's kind of what, stepped me out a little bit more north and going to west to find my home. So, but I did have a really crazy fun fact. Check this out, because we talked about like, new construction and how they're building stuff really fast. Mm-hmm. Texas leads the nation in single family housing permits.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So they lead.
That's crazy. They lead. Dallas and Houston equate for almost 7,000 permits.
Wow.
So North Texas and Fort Worth and surrounding suburbs led the way. So that's when we're talking about outside the sector of Dallas, Fort Worth.
Wow. So 7,000 more than in other states.
No, just for they have 7,000 permits. So somehow some areas could have 3,000.
Oh wow!
But they led the nation.
The nation. So that's huge.
I mean, people are building in Dallas, Fort Worth. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And they need these permits to start breaking ground for homes.
Mm-hmm.
So can you imagine the people that work in our counties and they're getting all these permits ready for all these build process? I mean, the commerce here is great. I mean, it's I mean, when you start to make decisions on, is this a good investment for me?
Mm-hmm.
Like things like that make me want to say, wow, there's a lot going on here in Dallas.
Right.
When I see the permits starting to slow down, then I'm kind of like, what are we doing here?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Or if I go in certain areas where, they have, the school districts, they have bonds and stuff set in place.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good precursor of saying, you know what? That's where I want to be. They got bonds going on over here in South Lake. They got bonds after bonds over here in Frisco. I mean, those are some really growing, developing areas. I mean, they need to bring in more schools. They need to update more schools. They're hiring more teachers.
Right.
They're hiring just different. I mean, the commerce and the economy and everything is growing when you have bonds that are backed.
Right.
Now taxes may be a different situation.
We'll talk about that another episode.
It could be a whole nother episode. I know you guys should be fighting your taxes right now on your home values. You guys should be doing that right now.
Right.
I think I got a May 17th deadline to get mine done. I'm not trying to have no high taxes.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying is that if you're checking off some of those boxes when you are starting to look for a home, hey, what's going on in the area? What are the bonds for the schools there? Or what are the months of inventory? What's the new retail that's going up in the area? Are they redoing any roads? Are there bonds for that?
Right.
These are the things you have to know going into buying a home, because this is probably the most expensive thing you would ever buy.
Wow. So that's what I like about you, Larry, is that you go more in depth. Like you just don't go and show beautiful homes. Like you kind of research and find out what's the best for your the client.
That's right, because it's really not my job to say this is the right home for you. It's your job.
Right.
But I do want to equip with you with everything that's going to come with owning a home.
Oh, wow.
I hate to sell you a home and like, man, they just built a freeway in my backyard. Like,
no.
I didn't see that.
Okay, no, right.
I ain't got the plans for text dot. I don't serve no text dot boards.
Okay, right. Maybe we need to. Okay, so
maybe we need to. So we have an inside plug. Let me give you this HTTP address so you can see what's going on with these roads.
I know.
But I do always say if they're building roads and they're repairing roads, that's a really, really good sign, because normally retail, commerce, and those things kind of follow the road. I mean, if you're out in Mansfield, which is a little south, south of Dallas, southwest of Dallas Fort Worth, they're building some of those freeways out there, and I'm telling you, businesses
it's growing.
are moving to the freeway.
Yeah.
If they building a freeway, you need to be looking at a house.
Ah, wow.
You need to be like, because I mean, the area is growing and developing, and it's moving south. It is moving south. It's moving south of Grand Prairie. It's like kind of where Mansfield. It is moving south.
I like south. That's so, my area.
Well, it's coming back. All the, the land is cheap, and developers are snatching up the land.
Look, not cheap, cheaper. Because people are gonna stick you with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Larry said it was cheap.
Where you at? Where you at? So yeah, it definitely depends on where you're thinking about for the area. So, but yeah,
wow.
Well, that's crazy. Well, you got anything else you like to share? Because I think we hit a lot of good points today.
About the market, that's important.
Yeah, the market. Yeah, I mean, the market is definitely here to stay. And people, what do you think about this 2020 thing coming up? I do want to talk about this before we leave. What do you think about 2020? Because I'm hearing a lot of different.
So what are you hearing?
I'm hearing that we're heading to a recession for 2020.
I don't believe that. I've been in the business for so long, right? So I think that we're at our peak. Mm-hmm. But now remember, this is just my opinion, okay?
Yeah.
So I definitely, because I've been in the business for a while, right? So I've seen the highs, I've seen the lows, I've seen everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do think we're too high, right? I think that we're, but I am seeing a lot of different things, but I don't think we're going to go into recession. I don't think we would ever go, and they thought we were in a recession in 2007. Mm-hmm. We were definitely not in a recession. Mm-hmm. Of course, unfortunately, a lot of jobs were leaving, but we were not in a recession, right?
Right.
And so I don't believe that they will allow us to go back into that market.
So you thinking they fixed all the subprime stuff? Do you think
that's another episode? Because
okay.
I don't think that the subprime made people go. That's another episode.
Okay. That's another, okay.
But I don't think the subprime, because the thing is that they had to have a downfall, and I I've done a lot of research, but a lot of people were making. I'm gonna follow up with some facts, right? So we can talk about that next episode because
I'd love to get into that, because you're right, because we are getting into this market. Right. And we kind of we got to predict a little bit.
I'm going to write it down. We're going to talk about subprime loans. Okay.
So you got to give us the whole background on that.
And I'm actually coming with some facts too. Okay. And so of course people are still going to have their own opinion. Now this is just my opinion, right?
Of course.
And I've been in the business for a while. Now subprime loans, yes, it did affect us and the way that the banking was doing it, but it wasn't all on just the subprime loans, because they make us get licensed now because of the whole meltdown in the market.
Yeah.
We have to do some type of financial duties and take tests and things like that, which is fantastic.
Yes, fantastic. Yeah. I think it cleaned up a little bit.
It did, but
why
it's
we won't go that way.
But it really got rid of a lot of great loan officers that, of course, just didn't have good credit or anything like that. And I know some people that were. But we were getting paid small. The big people, the big banks, the upper, the VPs and the SVPs, they got off scot-free and they walked away with millions of dollars, right?
So it corrected, in a way, it corrected a lot when it came to education.
Yes.
Of how you go about certain things. Yes. It kind of created the pay structure.
Yes.
Of the way, loans are processing and the people that go along the way that they get paid. So I think it corrected a lot about that. So I do like your proactive approach of going into 2020 and saying, hey, we're armed a little bit better.
Yes, we are.
So
I don't think a recession is coming.
So if anything, we are just balancing out.
And one of the
because that's kind of what I feel like. I mean, I feel like from my perspective, I feel like we're kind of balancing out when it comes to the crazy glory days of, I got this much for my house. And I think we're just,
it was crazy. It's some of the things. So like, for example, and we're going to talk about this. How much? So next episode, we're going to talk about how much money you need to bring to closing.
Okay.
So back in the day, people, if you have bad credit, which, okay, I'm just going to be honest. And if you this person, you're going to probably be offended, but you shouldn't be, because call me and I can help you get it together.
Of course.
If you had a 500 credit score, which is bad credit, okay, you could go on a house with no money down.
Okay.
Preach. So now that person, how did you expect them if no one gave them a tool and taught them how to improve their credit and they had nothing invested? Why would they stay in a home? So now you have to have money. You have to have your down payment, right? Like somebody, they can get the money from the closing costs any kind of way, but your down payment, they're saying that that has to be invested.
That has to be, yeah.
So you have to come with your own money for the down payment assistance. So we're going to talk about that. How much money do you need to bring the clothes? You could call it whatever, your dough, your cash. Yeah. What is the mattress money? You're right. However you want it, your Skrilla.
Yeah, right. So, bring that bag.
Right, everything. So we're going to talk about that and the reason why it's so important.
Right.
How the banks say that you have to come up with your down payment money.
Of course.
So those days are gone. Yes, it is. They feel like
they're never going anywhere.
Yeah, never.
No.
So they feel like if you have some skin in the game, then you would take more pride in your house. And I truly believe that.
That's just stage one.
Yeah, that's just stage one. Yeah. So we're gonna talk about that on episode 7.
Okay. I love it because we get a chance to get some like concrete examples, and some of you guys are sitting back like, man, let me do this math right quick while I'm watching this podcast.
We're gonna do the math. Yes, we're gonna hit on it. Yes, we're gonna hit on it. And then also too, I want to talk about when to shop for your home. Right. Okay. So your lease might be up in August. If my lease up in August, it seems like it's so long. When should I shop? So we're gonna talk about that. When should we shop?
Okay. Yeah.
And then we're gonna talk about Larry's specialty. Yeah. Larry, what's your specialty?
I have way too many specialties.
Okay, right. Curb appeal.
Curb appeal.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about that.
I'm going to have some, some stuff in the background that could show you curb appeal.
Yes, Larry.
I'm going to bring some pictures, some examples.
Okay, right.
Because I got to be visual on curb appeal.
Absolutely. Well, so that is episode 6.
Well, cool.
Thanks for coming out. Not coming out. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
And so episode 7, the buyer seminar, May 17th.
May 17th.
Yes.
All right.
Blessings.
Blessing. Thank you guys. Value